Hello everyone, and welcome to this session, A Day in the Life of a Pinkie. We'll just give everyone a few minutes to join, and then we'll get started with showing you a bit about KISK and Kandersteg International Scout Centre and volunteering here. All right, I think we are ready to start. So first of all, welcome to everyone. I can see that we have a bit over 50 people, around 60 people joining us today for this session about A Day in the Life of a Pinkie. We're broadcasting to you here from Kandersteg International Scout Centre in the middle of the Swiss Alps. My name is Andreas. I'm from Denmark. I'm the PR and Marketing Manager.
My name is Tiago, and I'm from Portugal, and I'm a short-term for this season.
My name is Katrine. I'm also from Denmark, and I'm the Guest Services Director here at KISK.
All right, so to start off with, what is a Pinkie, Tiago? Can you explain that?
So, a Pinkie is a volunteer. We came here as volunteers, and you can be here like for 3 months, 5 months, 1 year, 3 years. We are all here volunteering, helping the center in some different ways, and yeah, basically it's that.
All right. And why are we called the Pinkies? You might have seen that we're wearing this beautiful color pink. So the center was opened in 1923, following Baden-Powell's dream of a permanent mini jamboree that he had envisioned after the jamboree in London in 1920. And ever since 1923, the center has been run by a volunteer staff team. Up until 1989, it was a bit of loose volunteers coming every now and then in 1989, we established a permanent staff structure. So that's when we had the first full-time director. And that's also when we became Pinkies. And there's a lot of stories about why it's pink, why just pink. And one of the most used stories is that at the time, no one really wanted to wear the color pink for clothes. So it was cheap. And afterwards, it's just kind of stuck, and we've identified ourselves as being Pinkies. Felt at home in these wonderful pink t-shirts and jumpers. So that's why we're called the Pinkies. All right, Katrine, do you want to start by telling your Pinkie story?
The first time I came to KISK was in 2007, and I was a small girl from Denmark, breathtaken by the mountains, in love with all these people and the atmosphere. And I remember telling to my leader one evening after a campfire, I need to come back. I want to do that. I want to be on the stage and doing the skits. And my leader kind of, looked at me and went, sure, you do that. It took me about 12 years to come back to KISK. I joined the team last year as a short-term staff for the summer season, and I haven't really left since. But being back at KISK is definitely magical, and I'm so happy to join this wonderful team.
So, my story about KISK and Pinkies is started in 2015 when my group came here. We always do activities, international activities every 4 years, and we decided that we would come here. And the most amazing thing that I found at KISK was the Pinkies, because they were always funny, energetic, and smiling to everyone, helping each other, and it was amazing. For 5 years, I tried to get time to come here, and now I'm here. I've returned here as a Pinkie. I'm a short-term staff, and I'm living the dream, the real dream.
And for myself, my story started a bit differently than a lot of others. So last year, my wife applied for a job and got offered, not the job, the long-term staff job, but a short-term staff job last summer. So I thought, that's fine. It's 3 months, she's going to be away, and then she'll come home. And then halfway through the season, she called me and went, how do you feel about living a year in Switzerland? I was like, what do you mean? Because she got offered or encouraged to apply for a long-term staff position, which meant that we would come back in, or that she would come back in November. And I was like, yeah, why not? And then I applied as well and started in November as the communications assistant. Fortunately, they could use me as well. And I had some skills they really wanted. And then now I'm here. I've just transitioned into another role as PR and marketing manager, which means I'll be working here for the next year as well. And if I want to become a Pinkie, Katrina, how do I do that?
Oh, this is a good question. We get this a lot. A lot of people are thankfully interested in joining us here in the Alps. There's 3 criteria you need to fill. 1, you need to be at least 18 years old. 2, you must be a member of WASM or WAGS. And 3, you need to speak English at an understandable level. You don't need to be fluent or native, but English is the working language here, so we do need to get by at least. And as you can see in the bottom of the slide, Andreas put in a link to our website where you can see every time we have available vacancies, both for short-term staff, but also for longer-term positions. And we really hope you'll consider applying to join us.
All right, and then we'll move over to some questions and answers. So we have a few questions here beforehand that we've gathered from some of our followers on social media. But if you have any questions that you would like answered, just put them in the Q&A and we'll answer them. So first of all, what's the best part about being a Pinkie?
You can so do that.
Okay. So it's me. What's the best part of being a Pinkie? You can work with an international team. You can know people from all over the world. For example, I know on this season we have a person for South Africa, so it's amazing. You get to know different cultures and different scouting, because scouting is not equal on every country, and you can find it some difference between countries. I found out that Portuguese people do pyramidal. The fires are not squared, it's like a triangle, and I found that the UK people are always squared, and I was like, okay, that's fine to learn. So yeah, that's the best part of being a Pinkie. Know everyone from all over the world and new things from other countries. Yeah.
Another thing that's really cool about being a Pinkie is, every season we get new short-term staff, and people rarely know each other when they arrive, but the second you're here at KISK, you're instantly a part of this Pink family. So even though you're far away, it kind of feels familiar. It kind of feels like home. So it's a little bit less scary moving thousands and thousands of kilometers away to join us here in the Alps.
Thank you very much. And then one of the next questions is one of the ones where I might have to acknowledge that I haven't been a short-term staff, which means that I haven't worked much in these areas. So one of you two might be able to answer this. What is a day like in the kitchen or in house or in grounds? What do you do as a short-term staff in a day?
I can do the kitchen part. I do love the kitchen, yes. So a typical work day here at KISK, it begins at 8 o'clock in the morning. We all meet in the staff room for what we call Thought for the Day. Thought for the Day is like our staff meeting. So you hear a little quote from the person who is on duty for the day, something to think about, and then any other messages we'll be giving at Thought for the Day. As soon as we're done, you go to your work area. And if you're in the kitchen, you will start a bit before 8 o'clock actually, because you need to make sure breakfast is ready at 7:30. But that also means you get a longer lunch break. We'll get back to that. After Thought for the Day, and when the breakfast is taken away, the catering team will start preparing for lunch. We get a hot meal every day, but we also offer packed lunches for our guests. So sometimes you might have to make sandwiches as well. And then lunch is at 12 o'clock. And we all have lunch. Catering will do the dishes and make sure everything is ready to go for the afternoon. And then they have a longer lunch break. It might be 3-4 hours, depending on the dish we're cooking for dinner. They will come back, cook dinner, and clean up, and that's the day for catering. But if you were in maintenance or in grounds...
Oh, that becomes different, because after the Thought for the Day, you go to the maintenance and grounds internal service office, and you grab a radio, and you get out of the chalet and you go to campsites, to other buildings, and you try to cut some trees, to clean the grounds, to repair some things on like windows, chairs, beds, whatever. So it's a bit different when you are in grounds or maintenance than when you are in kitchen. Do you want to talk about house or should I like house? I can. So in house, it's also different. We all meet at the basement on the laundry. And there we have a spectacular time folding and doing daily cleaning. And the most amazing thing is like you have hats, and every day you can use a different hat, and every day you can hear different songs from different countries, and it's really amazing. And you also can do something. If we have some few pinks, you can put a pink sock on the white thing or on the white laundry thing, and it will be all pink. So try that at home. It's amazing.
And now you mentioned all of these different departments, and we've got a question from a viewer asking if you're just working one department or if you're working all of them.
Oh, it's on. So if you're here during autumn where we are now, you will be working in many different departments. Every week you'll get what we call the rota. That's your weekly plan for where you'll be working. And every day you'll have a new area. So you can work in maintenance, in grounds, in house, or in catering. But if you come during winter or you come during summer, you will work in teams. So in winter, we need people for ski guiding, we need people for activities, and we need people to help out indoors. In summer, we're divided in the chalet team. They are the shop, the kitchen, and house. We have the campsite team who takes care of everything on the campsite, and we have the program team. And the program team is shared with hike guides, climbing guides, and activity guides. But for spring and autumn, you'll try a little bit of everything.
All right. And then when you're not working, what do Pinkies get up to in their free time? I would say for me, it's a lot of relaxing or enjoying the beautiful surroundings. We have a lot of mountains around us, so it's a perfect opportunity to go out hiking, or I'm a photographer, so I like taking photos as well, bringing my camera out on trips. What do you guys do?
So I really like the hikes as well. But something I've been doing a lot this summer is actually going to eat ice cream in the village.
So since I start here, I have done a lot of hikes. I really love it. And we also have staff night outs where we have fun together. We play games. We also do board games nights. We also do talking nights, campfires also. So we enjoy our free time from different perspectives. Some of us like to hike. Other of us like to stay on the staff room, meeting each other, talking to each other. So we do a lot of things.
All right. And have you experienced difficulties working with people from other cultures? Because clearly we are a lot of people from different countries together.
I can, yeah. So sometimes you run into a language barrier here at KISK. You know, for a lot of us, English is not the first language we have. And sometimes you end up in a really weird situation where you just don't have the word. And you're trying with, you know, you're trying to like sign it out to people or trying to tell it in a different way over and over again, or in the end just using Google Translate or something else on your app. And then also, you know, we are from different cultures and people have different ways of working. So some people might want to do things very quickly and very, very, how do you say, just be efficient, yes. And then other people might take some more time in doing the things, but will still make a really good product. So it doesn't usually become an issue, but sometimes we have to remember that we are from different countries and have different cultures and ways of doing things from back home. But we all learn something and it's really cool in the end.
All right. And then we'll look a bit at the questions from the audience. So a fairly easy one. Up to what age can you apply to become a Pinkie?
Well, we don't really have a set age limit. In my season, one of the short-term staffs were actually 34. So if you really want to be a Pinkie, give it a go. Send us an application. We're not looking as much as your age as you as a person.
And can you be a Pinkie forever, or is it just a temporary thing?
So some people only come for 3 months, and some people then come back after the short-term season. Some people have not been short-term staff. They've only come as long-term staff. Being a Pinkie forever, I would say is more in the heart. At one point, I think you'll need to leave the Permanent Mini Jamboree, but there's many ways of coming back, both as long-term staff, but we also have something called the helpers or the greenies. They're the people you'll see at the center wearing green t-shirts, and they are usually ex-staff coming back to spend some of their holiday helping out in the center and giving back.
Yes, there's a lot of questions. So here's another one from the audience. What are your most memorable moments while working in the Pinkie team? I would say, to me, it's, unfortunately, I can't disclose a lot about it because it's a secret thing, but it was when I got my pink. It was when I became a part of the team. That was when it felt very real, and when I really felt this big family that the Pinkies are.
I would have to agree with Andreas. That is a very, very big moment for any Pinkie. But something for me that was very big was last summer when I was here with Shorty. We did the first campfire of the season, and I got to light the campfire. And for me, the whole idea of becoming a Pinkie started at that campfire. So being at the campfire circle and walking down those stairs with a torch and lighting the fire and just looking at all these people was a really, really big moment. And that in that second, I realized, wow, I actually made it here. And that was really amazing.
Okay, I have to agree with them. Like, the most memorable moment that I have, it's when I received my pink. But I can talk about my second one. My second one was the kitchen party. My first kitchen party. I was lost. I didn't know what to do, but everyone was so happy doing what they were doing. That was like, why not join them? Let's sing, let's dance, let's wash things, let's clean everything really fast with loud music. It was amazing.
Yeah, they are very nice, the kitchen parties. Then we have another question. If Pinkies get off days or allowances, that depends a bit on what position you have. So when you're here as a short-term staff, you do a lot of the practical work. You don't get an allowance because it's only 3 months, but you do get 1.5 days off a week, which means that you have 1.5 days off to go and explore. If you're lucky, you might be able to combine them, so you save up days and take a couple of more in a row, so you can go to Italy, to France, to Germany, to Austria, to other countries around. Then if you're here as a long-term staff, that means that you're here anywhere between, is it 5 months and 3 years? Then you get an allowance depending on your role. It starts from 450 francs. And yeah, as I said, it depends on your role because it also depends on your responsibility. But everyone here still volunteers. So it's not that we get paid, it's just it's pocket money. We only have 3 people employed at the center professionally. One of them is our hygiene supervisor. It's a Swiss lady who takes care that we follow all of the rules and procedures in the kitchen. Then we have our bookkeeper who makes sure that we follow all of the rules about what numbers we need to tell people about, how we do all of our finances. And then the last one is the director, Jack. Jack recently started. He started in last autumn, in November. And they are the only 3 people who don't have an end date on their contract. Everyone else does that, and everyone else are volunteers. So they're the only 3 people who get actually paid for their work. And as Katrina said, as long-term staff, you get 2 days off a week, and depending on the length of your contract, you also get holidays, which means that you're able to take a few more days off together and go out and explore, travel to different countries, see the world. All right.
There's so many questions.
There's a lot of questions. Yeah. Is it competitive to become a short-term staff?
I don't know if I would use the word competitive, but depending on the seasons, we do get quite a few applicants. So in summer, we usually need around 35 short-term staffs, and for spring and autumn, around 10, and for winter, maybe 12. So of course, there's a little bit of a competition over the spots, but if you want to be a shorty, follow your dream and apply. You never know.
All right. And is the experience as a Pinkie different from being a scout?
I would say yes. So when you're a scout back home or a scout leader, you get to meet the kids and you have your weekly meetings and all those wonderful memories. Being a Pinkie at Kisk is not like being a scout back home. We don't do weekly meetings or stuff like that. How do you explain the difference of being a Pinkie? It's you can try.
We are all still scouts. We try to be the best of us in scouting, but we are here as volunteers working. So at the same time you are a scout, you are working here, and you are trying to keep the center running. But we also love to be a scout, so we always try to have scout moments like campfires where we can share things, or we can go for a hike and be with each other and talk about our scout opportunities and learn about each other. But it's not the same at Scouts at Home. We are not with the kids doing scout activities for them. Like we are not trying to create them. We have them, we distribute them, but it's not like we have weekly meetings. We don't talk about BP, or we talk about BP, but it's different. It's really difficult.
All right, and another quite short one. Which is your favorite season working as a Pinkie?
I mean, Tiago's shouting autumn for those of you who can't hear it. I was a summer short-term staff, so summer forever.
Yeah, and I've never done a proper season, but I would say from experience, having experienced all 4 seasons now, I would say winter is my favorite one because it's just so nice and cozy, and there's a lot of we have a saying in Danish called hygge, a lot of hyggelig events where it's all about coming together and enjoying time together, spending some time together.
And spending Christmas and New Year's here is really fun as well.
All right. And then we have someone asking, what is considered a differential in the application for the program? I think we'll answer this on a bit more broad basis. So KISK is not just a regular working place where we just look for the people with the most experience and the people who have done everything. KISK is a place of learning, which is also what we look for in applications for all roles. So of course, if you apply for a specific role, like being in the program team or being in long-term staff, we look at whether you have at least some qualifications, but we also look at how much do you really want this? What do you want to get from it? What motivates you? So you don't need to know everything. You don't need to be a very experienced hiker or a very experienced climber, but you need to be able to be willing to learn and to be able to give the time that it takes. And how many times can I apply?
We don't have a limit to how many times you can apply. If there's something you're interested in, keep applying.
Yes. A lot of you are asking how to become Pinkies from your country. So basically what you need to do is to go onto our website, www.kisk.ch, find the job vacancies, see if there's anything open that you are looking for, fill out the application form, send in a motivational letter. You also need to reach out to your National Scout organization or association or member organization if you're a Girl Guide or Girl Scout. And then, reach out to your organization to get that, send that in. And then you just cross your fingers and hope for the best. And then we'll look at all of the applicants, select the ones that are very much looking forward to come here, that are very motivated, that have some skills we can use, or that can learn some new skills. And then hopefully you get a positive reply back. And then it's just all about booking your travels, figuring out how to get here.
Oh, I wanted to ask Thiago something. What's the thing you miss the most from home?
Oh, that's the hard one. Of course, my family is the first one. I won't deny that. But about other things, I would say probably. No, I won't say the weather. I will say the food. It's not that KISK doesn't give you food. KISK gives you a lot of food. Probably I weigh more 5 kilos than I weighed before. So don't worry about food, but it's different. And I miss my home food, my grandmother's food. Her desserts were really nice. And I tried to cook one of them like the last day on 14th of October. And it was really good. It tasted really good, but it was not my grandmother's dessert. I still miss it.
And then we have someone asking if we are near a village or city.
Do you want to take it? No, I can. All right. So Kandersteg International Scout Centre is located in the end of a little village called Kandersteg. There's about 800 inhabitants here, I think.
Yeah, around that.
Yeah. So it's a quite small village. We have two, I wouldn't even call it supermarkets, but we have a small co-op and something called Folk where you can go do your shopping. There's a few hairdressers and a few other shops like a milkman as well, where you can get really delicious cheese, by the way. We also have a train station, but if you want to get to something that's like more of a city, as you might know from home, you need to take the bus. It takes about 25-30 minutes down to a city called Frutigen, and that gives you a bit more of a city vibe. But if you want to go to Thun or to Bern, Bern is the capital of Switzerland, it takes you about an hour and 15 minutes with a train, and it's a really good train ride.
All right. Then we've had a question about what the best job you get to do at KISK is.
Best job.
I'd say that depends a lot on the person. To me, it's whenever I have time to go out and take photos of either guests doing activities and having fun or of the beautiful surroundings that we are in. I'm lucky enough to be able to call that my job.
I really like spending time with catering. You know, we turn up the music really loud and we just prepare a lot of food for people and you just have a party. And, you know, it doesn't matter that you need to do the dishes afterwards because cleaning dishes or washing toilets here at KISK is no problem when you have your friends and some loud music. What's your favorite thing?
I think I will agree with Catherine. My favorite thing is catering. We start earlier, we finish later, but we have a lot of fun. No one is hearing us, so we can put the music really, really loud. And sometimes we cannot hear each other, so it's really good. And it's lovely to cook food for everyone and then see a smile on everyone's faces like, oh, we have food and the food is good and tasted good and my belly is full. That's amazing.
Right. And then we've had a few more serious questions about COVID and how it has affected life as a Pinkie.
Thank you, Tiago. So, of course, COVID have affected many people around the world this year, and there's no secret that it infected us as well here in the Alps. One of the things that happened was that we struggled to get volunteers coming from outside of the EU, which is why currently we have very, very few volunteers outside of EU that were able to get to Switzerland with the travel bans and all the restrictions that were here, which is very unfortunate. But we're hoping for better times. We didn't have as many guests as we were hoping. We definitely didn't have as many scouts as we were hoping this year. We saw a lot of Swiss people instead, and a lot of them were very surprised to find this little gem that we have here in the Alps and staying on our campsite. So that was a new experience for us, and it was really nice to meet all these people and trying to tell them a bit more about scouting and what it is that we do here in the Alps, and that we've actually been here for almost 100 years, which surprised a lot of people.
And speaking of Swiss people, does that mean that you both speak fluent German?
I really want to say, sure, I'm fluent, but Swiss German is very next level for me. I'm definitely getting better, but fluent, not yet.
I think I know like 4 words, and 3 of them mean yes, and 1 means no. So it's really good for this 1.5 months that I've been here. So I learned something.
But in general, like you learn so many. You don't learn full languages here at KISK. You learn a lot of small words here and there from different languages that only applies at KISK more or less because nobody needs to know what a tin is called in Cantonese probably outside of here. But it's really fun, and of course we do need to pick up more German than any other language because that's the language right here.
And then we have someone who's not a scout asking if they can go visit or be part of the staff team. You can definitely come visit. We love to see both scouts and non-scouts here. But to become a member of the staff team, you have to be a member of either a organization recognized by WASM, the World Organization of the Scout Movement, or by WAGS, the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. But it's never too late to become a member and to join and to apply to become a Pinkie. And then we have a lot of people asking about funny stories from previous years. Do you have any stories?
Funny stories.
Okay, I have one. Okay, like 2 weeks ago, we were in catering. I was with Eric from Brazil, and we were cooking a dish that was really, really spicy. So Eric decided to do it more spicier than normal, and he didn't put teaspoons. He decided to put grams instead of teaspoons. So instead of we having water with some powder in it, we had powder with some water in it, and it was a really, really fun day in catering.
See, that's one of the things I don't really experience. But I would say a really fun thing is that when you walk around the center and you just walk into catering and there's just a massive group dance going on and they're all dancing along to the same song while doing dishes or cooking or cutting vegetables. That always looks fun.
Another thing that tends to happen here is, so for those of you who've been to KISK before, you will know that one of our offices has these really, really big windows out to a hallway. And every day when the house teams come to clean, it's not unusual that you will see all kinds of hats just dancing by, or the people wearing the hats will go really low so it looks like flamingos are walking outside the window. I don't know, it still makes me laugh a lot.
And I can see we've had some people join since we started and introduced ourselves. So should we just do it again? My name is Andreas. I'm from Denmark and currently work at Kandersteg International Scout Centre as the PR and marketing manager.
My name is Katrine. I'm also from Denmark and I'm the guest services director here at KISK.
So my name is Tiago, I'm from Portugal, and I'm a short-term staff for the autumn season. It's great.
And then we have questions about how many people usually apply for short-term staff and which season has the most applications.
I don't know the exact numbers, but I do know that the most sought of season here that people apply for is summer. That is by far the most popular because it tends to align with people's holidays from school or university.
Yeah, and I think the numbers, I'm currently looking at applications for next spring, and I think we have around 40 or 50 applicants. But I think for summer, it's not uncommon to have 100 or 150, but 75. But we also need more volunteers in summer to help us out.
They keep coming.
And we have someone asking if there's ever been experiences where other people do not cooperate. If you have experienced that. I would say my experience is that it has happened before, but people don't do it consciously. They do it because there's a language barrier or a culture barrier. So it's one of the things we also get trained on, gets aware of during the training weeks, is that people are different, people come from different cultures. And sometimes you need to adapt the way you talk, you need to adapt the way you work, you need to adapt the way you behave. But I haven't experienced anyone doing it out of evil or to be mean. It's more been misunderstandings. And then we have a couple of people asking where the Pinkie word came from and what it means. And basically the Pinkie word comes from this beautiful color we're wearing. A story says that the reason why we're wearing pink is because it was the cheapest back when we bought these or started using these uniforms back in '89, because no one else wanted to wear pink. So it was a very cheap color to buy clothes in.
But I also heard that we got the pink shirts because somebody accidentally washed the white t-shirts with a red sock in it. So I guess why we are pinkies would be a mystery.
And then we have someone asking if we have a record of where people come from. We do somewhere, all the way back, but every season makes what we call a staff board, which is a board that goes up in the front office, in the coffee bar where people get in the reception area. And it has everyone's name on and everyone's nationality that's working here for that season. Which means that as you walk around, then after that season, they get taken down and they get put up in another place. As you walk around the center, you can see people who's worked here. The oldest of these staff boards that I've seen is back from '83, and they make around 4 a year. So we have a lot of them. And then we also have, of course, a staff register with ex-staff, so we can see who's been here before in case they apply again, and we can see who.
Very old guest books.
Yes, and then if we're talking about guests, we still have the original guest book back from 1923 and on, so we can see who's been here back then. And then someone asked how many times you have to apply to be accepted.
That's kind of hard to say. So every time we set a team here at KISK, we look at all the applicants to see who we think have a profile that will fit the season and the needs of the center. But then in the end, we also need to make sure that the people we are setting in, for example, the short-term staff team, are personalities that will do well together. So it's always a big puzzle to choose the right people to get here. So unfortunately, I can't give you a straight answer on that one.
And do you have to pay to become a part of KISK?
No. So if you become a Pinkie here, that is very much free. As we said earlier, if you're short-term staff, you will not be given any pocket money. But if you become a long-term staff, there will be a pocket money. You can also join KISK Association, where we have different memberships, and in that way you can support the center.
And then we have the age limit being asked again. So the age limit is that you have to be a minimum of 18 years old, but there's no upper limit, which means that if you're 99 years old and still feel like a season or year in the Swiss Alps, then you can apply. And are we doing something with the sustainable development goals in the program activities?
Yes, we are. So for the development goals, we've had a person for the last almost 1 year working on adapting all our activities so they meet at least one goal each, and some of them will definitely be meeting more of the goals. And you can see more of that on our website, but also if you do come to KISK, feel free to ask our program team. They can tell you so much more about this.
And speaking of program, are there activities for non-scouts visiting?
All of our activities are also available for non-scouts. Some of the activities have a minimum of how many people you need to be for us to host the activity, but we will be more than happy to help you guys. And also you can see all these activities on the website. As long as you're a guest here, we will be happy to do activities.
Thank you very much. Then we have another question about what the room situation is for the Pinkies. And this is one we also got asked when we put out a call for questions the other day. If the Pinkies all sleep together in a dorm.
Okay, we don't sleep all together, but we have a roommate or two. It depends on the season and how many people are here. We have a staff room where we have our rooms. And for example, I share my room with Nikolai from Denmark, and all of us share our room with another person. But it kind of depends. You can have one roommate or two, you don't know. But we don't live like all together in the same room. We have separate rooms for maximum to 3 people. And LTS sleep on flats near the KISK, but they are outside of the chalet on their own flats.
All right. And then we have a question about whether we have any collaborations with other scout centers from other countries. And we're part of a couple of networks for scout centers. We're part of SCENES, Scout Centers for Excellence in Nature and Environmental Service, which means that we work a lot with the nature around us, with recycling, with taking care of the nature and educating people about nature. And then we're also part of a European network called the Goose Network, which has its names because goose support each other. They fly together and break off each other. When you see them flying, they fly in a V to support each other and to make it easier for the people behind. And the Goose Network is all about sharing experiences with other centers. So while KISK is a center that's open 365 days a year, then some of the other centers are run by a very small volunteer team or just a few volunteers or local scout group, which means that we can all share our experiences with them, and we plan some activities together. And then within the Goose Network, we have a deal so staff from other Goose centers can go to and visit centers around the network, kind of on an exchange. So we sometimes have people from other Goose centers visiting us here, or we have staff from here going to other Goose centers. And then we have someone asking if they get what to do if they get accepted as a Pinkie but can't go because of coronavirus.
If you're in that position, I would recommend that you send an email to our staff development director, Belinda, and let her know the situation, and together you might be able to find a solution.
Then we have someone asking about the 100-year celebration of the Permanent Mini Jamboree. So the 100 years is coming up in 2023, and they're asking what programs are planned. We haven't planned anything specific yet that we're ready to make public, but we're planning a year full of celebrations. So the celebration is not just going to be 1 week during summer, it's going to be all year, spread out in different events for different groups of people. Some are for scouts, some are for non-scouts, some are for leaders, some are for young scouts. It's basically just going to be a full year of celebration, and this is going to be in 2023. And then we have someone asking if you would say something about culture.
Oh, well. About culture.
I would say working at KISK is an introduction to different cultures and a learning about different cultures, because people come from different countries, which is also why we try to have the internal culture, the staff culture that we have. We aim for it to be open, so you can tell people something if you're not satisfied with it, or if you're not happy with the choice they made. We very much value honesty and value that you can say things instead of just having to talk about it with your friends or behind their back.
Yeah, but what was the biggest culture shock for you coming to this small village?
That's a good question. Probably the first one was the language. I discovered that here in Kandersteg, not many people speak English, only on the Scout Centre. So when you go to a supermarket and try to find something, and you don't know the word in German, you'll probably get lost in the middle in the supermarket. And it's a small supermarket, but you'll get lost there. At KISK, it's like I have others international experience, so I already know some of the cultures. But it's also funny to look that persons from different cultures, like they like to have more distance for each other. For example, it was funny the first day I came here that Luis, that is a Portuguese one, was making a training session with us, and he got closer to a person, and then the person that was in front of him like got back because it was too close to him. So yeah, it was a funny cultural shock.
Thank you very much. And on that note, do most of the Pinkies come from Europe, or do they come from places further away? This is where we have a bit of a special situation at the moment. So normally staff would come from all around the world. But at the moment, due to coronavirus, it's been hard to get visas for people from outside of EU or outside of Europe. And there's also been travel restrictions, which mean that at the moment, most of the staff, unfortunately, is from Europe, but we're still from a lot of different European countries, which means that we have a lot of different cultures represented. And then we have someone asking if there's any option of scholarship to support round-trip expenses from their country to KISK. There isn't any. We do have agreements with some of the WASM regions, so you can try to reach out to your international commissions to hear if they have any agreements, any scholarships, any funds that you could apply for. And then otherwise, it is possible to do regular fundraising, different ways to work for people, do a bit of extra work for people, do some fundraising walks we've seen people do before.
Keep coming.
Yes.
Keep coming. Keep coming.
It's wonderful. We have about 10 minutes left, so we need to do the good ones. Really good ones.
All right. What is the one reason to become a Pinkie?
Oh.
You need to pick up a microphone to answer.
Yeah. The one reason to become a Pinkie. Okay. It's an experience like no other, and I wish everyone could try it.
You will know a second family. Basically, you will know a second family from here.
I would say my reason is that you will get to experience things that you don't get to experience anywhere else in the world. And then we have someone asking if people go to volunteer to KISK during their gap year. That's actually a quite common thing, people taking a break from school or in between studies or from work to come here and work for either just a season or for a full year. Have you seen any cool animals while being here?
Yes. Actually, I haven't seen any this year, but last summer I saw marmots. And I don't know how to describe them, but they're these little, they look like a very big hamster, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a very big hamster. And they make these really high-pitched squeaky noises, and they're very fluffy, and they just look very, very cute. So try and Google a marmot. Also, I saw chamois, which is kind of like a mountain goat. Last year, I saw one of those last year on a hike, and well, at least back home in Denmark, we don't have any of those two animals, so I was very excited when I could cross them off my list.
I found lots of foxes, and they are not so afraid of you like on my own country. You don't see them, but here you can see them everywhere. And the animal that you probably will see most, even when you are hiking, it's cows. You will see them everywhere.
And then we have someone asking if they can go there as a visitor with people from all ages.
Yeah, so to come to KISK as a visitor, the only rule is that you need at least one person to be above 18 as the responsible leader, but besides that, we welcome kids and scouts of all ages.
Now we have someone asking which room we're in. We're currently in the room that's called the Old Chalet Main Hall, which is one of the rooms in the original building that was here in 1923 when we opened the center. The particular part of the room we're in now used to be the staff room, which is where the staff would hang out when they were off. They would have a nice fire like we do now and relax, tell stories. And then I think the last question we'll do is, what's the best thing about Switzerland?
The flag is a big plus.
Nah, we've got time for one more. How is mutual understanding important to Pinkies?
That was a really good question. I mean, being a KISK and being a Pinkie, we all operate from the same scouting values, and that does help a lot in our daily work. But I think a lot of the things we go through in training, you know, the different cultures, language barriers, and many other things like this, it's very important for us because the second then when you're out of training, you all have the same foundation to work off from. And you all had the same kind of training so that if something were to go a bit wrong, you'd be able to say, do not remember that we had this in training or any other kind of situation. So it does help a lot in our daily work, and it does make some things a bit easier.
And when you're volunteering here, can you invite someone to visit?
if I can have someone to visit. Yes. Yeah, normally I can. I have 10 free overnights to spend with family or friends. If they can come here, I can give them the free overnights and they can be here. And I only have to ask for my free days that I can have like 3 in the row. So I only have to ask them and they will be here with me. I will spend my time with them. So yes, you can be with your family here.
And then I think we'll end it with the, how do you feel being a Pinkie? I'd say I feel proud to keep this Baden-Powell's dream alive. Actually, this year it's 100 years since he first announced this dream. So to be able to be a part of that and to give scouts from all around the world an international experience right here in the Swiss Alps.
I also feel really proud to be here and to help when I where I can. And I also love to be on this family because we are all together, and if you need something, we can help each other.
I have to agree with the guys. I feel very proud to be here. I feel lucky, but I'm also super happy because for me it took 12 years to come back and wear the pink uniform. So for me, it was a very proud moment when I got the email confirming that I was going to be a Pinkie. Yeah, it's a very good day.
And on that note, thank you very much to everyone who tuned in today. We've put the code for the Challenge Valley on the screen. And please also go to JOTA-JOTI.info/rate and tell us if you're liking this edition of JOTA-JOTI. I would suggest taking a screenshot of that just so you have it for once we close the webinar as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, guys. Or as we say here in the Swiss Alps, merci vielmals.